I'm Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz. Welcome to episode number 25 of the InnovaBuzz podcast, the podcast designed to help smart businesses with an interest in innovation and the Internet of Things become even more innovative. Today's guest is Chris Duncan from PointB Education, a young man in a hurry. Chris is all about helping people achieve what he calls total freedom in their life by leverage within their business. He's an entrepreneur, a speaker, a coach, and a very smart business person. He works with other business owners to help them get from where they are to where they want to be, and he does that fast, or he gets them there fast. He has 8 separate businesses himself right now, and is aiming to reach 100 $1 million businesses. Actually, that goal was revised to 200 on the podcast. You'll have to listen in to find out how that came about. This podcast is sponsored by InnovaBuzz, where we help smart, innovative, growth-focused business owners grow their business by making their websites achieve more. Of course, at InnovaBuzz, we do more than just build websites. We provide solutions to our clients' needs by leveraging the power of the internet in innovative ways. If you want to learn more, then go visit our website at innovabuzz.com.au or contact me directly through the contact information there. Now, let's get into the Innovation Hive and get the buzz from Chris Duncan.
This is the InnovaBuzz podcast, helping smart businesses be even more innovative.
Hi, I'm Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz, and I'm really excited to have here with me today on the podcast, all the way from Auckland in New Zealand, Chris Duncan from PointB Education. Now, Chris has a whole bunch of businesses actually, and I'm sure we'll find out more about those today. He spends much of his time coaching other business owners to get results. He says on one of his websites, I'm all about helping people achieve total freedom. I help people get from where they are to where they want to be, and fast. So welcome to the podcast, Chris. It's a privilege to have you here.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Now, before we start talking all about business growth and coaching and other topics, all about your other businesses, let's step back a little bit and find out more about you as a person. When you were a young child, what aspirations did you have? You know, the typical question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, well, for me, it was 100% around sports. There was nothing more I wanted to be than a professional athlete. That was my whole focus, and I got there briefly, but didn't quite crack into anything.
So what sport were you into?
Basketball, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating, yeah.
Yeah, it is. So that was me growing up, just sort of very kind of focused on that.
And when did you decide you weren't going to pursue professional sport as a kind of mainstream career? And
I think it was about age 18, 19. There was different life events that happened, and it just came to be something that I just let go away. I've thought about it a lot, actually, whether I should have stuck with it or not. But it just, there was nothing major, to be honest. It just kind of drifted.
And I noted that one of your early businesses was a personal training business. So did that evolve out of your sports interests?
Right. Well, it all kind of happened at the same time. I left school, and I didn't finish high school, which I think is really interesting. So I left high school, and I went and got basically an exercise science diploma. And so I could spend the most time playing basketball. I became a personal trainer, and I was able to earn good money in a small business with very little time. And it started actually opening my eyes right back then to what was possible. When some of my friends were earning, $15 to $20 an hour and having to do these jobs they hated, there I was in the gym earning $50 to $70 an hour, and all the business perks that came with it as well. And it really, that was my first proper business, age 17, working in a gym. So all kind of intertwined together, actually.
Okay. And then there's also something about a DJ company on your resume.
Yeah. So what happened was I did very good at my personal trainer business, but what I found is I wanted to do something bigger, and I didn't have any ideas. And so I got some advice, which was to go to university, get a business degree, and which was interesting because I didn't finish high school, but I managed to get into university. While I was there, I didn't want to go down the traditional job route. That's never been something that I've looked at. So I started hosting some parties and realized that I liked playing the music. And so I self-taught myself how to DJ, got myself a little gig at a bar, and then it started evolving. I would go around to different bars and nightclubs, and I would play music, and then we would do 21st, and then it expanded and we had other people. And yeah, it was more fun. It was more of a hobby. Yeah. All the hobby entrepreneurs out there, I've definitely been you. And it was good. I mean, it supported me through uni and a little bit after that as well.
Yeah. All right. And I guess those early experiences taught you a lot about business that you've then started to share with other people.
Yeah. And the main thing that they allowed me to do is all my businesses have given me more life. And that's something I talk about a lot, and I'm so passionate about people having businesses that give them more of their life. And so one of our companies is the Freedom Fast Track and PointB Education, and we've got, the new growth hacker stuff that comes out, but all of it is there just to get people to get more from less so they can actually do other things with their life. And I think that's super critical. And I guess right back from, when I was doing my personal training business, the business was there to give me, money and time to do my basketball. And then when I had the DJ company, it was there to give, actually the DJ company was a lot of fun as well. I mean, I'm partying a lot. I may as well get paid to party. So it's, I think that's really helped me now, because I see a lot of people that are in businesses that are in jobs I think they don't love. And that's something that's never been okay for me.
Yeah. That's sad, isn't it? And there's a lot of people talk about it, but I guess, most business owners somewhere along the line fall into that trap. They just, they don't realize that they've set themselves up with a job that is going to be unpleasant at some point fairly soon on the journey.
Yeah. And I think it's not their fault.
That's right.
I mean, everyone is born into going to school, and then we've got to learn everything. We've got to do it all ourselves. And I think some of the biggest skills of being an entrepreneur is the art of not doing it yourself, and delegation, and actually having that trust in other people. And I don't think we're taught that enough, but that's another big story.
Well, I want to explore some of those things a little bit more later on. So, systems and delegations, and how do you scale a business? Because I know you've got a lot of information there on various of your websites, plus videos and so on. But before we get on to that, so how many businesses do you actually have running actively at the moment?
Well, it depends which way you slice them. We like to say 8 right now, separate entities, and there's actually a couple more that are sprung up. And I think a lot of people, they go, well, how do you do that? And what's going on? And it all comes back to it's the same system. I've just got one model that works to build companies. And so I think to myself, there's an opportunity. And I just start it, then I scale it, then I systemize it, and then I find somebody who runs it for me. And most of my companies are, it's an hour to 2 hours, 3 hours a week max, just meetings and just making sure they're on the right track. Then I let it go and leave it to them. So 8 currently, which is really exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And I think you've captured there in a snapshot of how you can actually systemize a business and grow it and delegate. It's basically develop the system, repeat the process, and hand it off to somebody and just monitor it.
I agree 100%. Business, it should be easy, it should be simple. I think people complicate it too much, and again, there are so many people that are out there that will do good things for you. And one thing that I love is finding great people to do the hard stuff in the business, really.
So what do you spend most of your time doing day to day?
Most of my time, it's a really good question, actually. Most of my time is, I'm the brand for half of my companies. And so most of my time is finding ways to reach out with that brand. So videos, social media, and actually putting out good content. So I spend a lot of time in front of the camera shooting videos. We've got our new TV show as well. which is taking up some time. The second big thing is talking to everyone running my company, or different companies. And so I spend a lot of time at just coaching and interacting with them and helping them to do what it is that they do. And then the next one is actually reaching out with new partners, joint venture partners, people that can help our companies grow. And then other than that, there's only one other thing that I really do, and that's I sit there and I plan and draw out, new ideas and where the company's heading. So I really enjoy my days, and obviously what we're doing now is a part of me getting my brand out there so people know who I am, and so that fits right into everything I've just shared as well.
Yeah, that's great. So is how big of a role does the internet play in your businesses?
I don't think that any of them would work without it.
Yeah.
Like bigger than big. Every single one of our companies make money online. Every single one of our companies engage their customers, clients every single day online. I don't think we wouldn't have anything without the internet. I mean, it is the coolest thing. It is just on that. It is the coolest place, coolest time ever to be a business owner right now. I mean, I'm looking around me, and right now you've got your own talkback radio show. On my phone, I can shoot video, and there's my whole TV station. I can write a blog. There's my newspaper. We can create our own content. Businesses can start with $0 and scale to billions. It's just, I'm so excited for all the entrepreneurs out there that are listening, just because it
is, isn't it? And I was talking to somebody today about Periscope, the new Twitter tool. Now, I haven't gone into that yet, but I hear a lot of people getting into that, so I need to have a look. But so you can do a live video broadcast from your phone.
We've created multiple thousands of Periscope already. I was an early adopter. It's my 3rd month on Periscope, and honestly, I'm so glad I got into it. There's a few other that have come out. There's Meerkat, there's Blab, there's this new podcaster one coming out, and obviously Facebook mentions. And I just got to say, business owners that innovate, I love what you do in the title of this podcast. The innovators, sometimes you're either innovating or you've got to get on the forefront of these innovations. And Periscope is huge right now. I mean, I jumped on the other night, and you'll love this, and it was after a podcast that I did, and I just opened up my phone and just set it there, and I put it, I can't remember what I wrote, why you don't need a website to make sales. And within half an hour, I had 455 people live viewing. Yeah. It was cool. It's cool.
That's fabulous. I know. I have to have a look at that.
Get into it.
Yeah. All right. So, what is there something you worry about, or something that keeps you awake at night?
Now, I saw this question and I looked at it, and I was like, do I tell them the truth? And the answer was, I should share exactly. And what the thing that keeps me up at night, there's two. One, I'm either super, super excited about something that I'm doing and I just can't put it down. And I've spent, sometimes I just don't sleep all night because I'm that into a new project. But the thing that really keeps me up, and I know the way that you labeled that, what keeps me up, is whenever something doesn't go to plan. I am a stressor. I am. When things aren't working out for me, if I have a client that isn't happy with something that's happened, or a business partner, or I've put money into something, it doesn't work, I honestly, and I don't like to admit it, but I will sit there and I will stew on it. And it's until I find the answer, there's not much sleeping happening. So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but it's the truth.
We're just trying to find out what drives people. So, I mean, for me, it's a couple of things. One of them is what you said first, which is, if I've got an idea, or if I'm working on a project that I'm super excited about, I just can't turn it off. And I find that I start getting new ideas. And the moment I start getting new ideas, and that creates another idea, and then I'm gone, I won't sleep the whole night. But the other one is if I've got my teeth into a problem, so I tend to look at problems and say nothing's impossible, and I'll figure out a way to do it. But, sometimes that takes a longer time. And so then I've tried a dozen things, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to call it a night. I'll come back to this tomorrow morning. But then, of course, I'm stewing over, well, what else can I do? What else can I look at?
Right.
So there you go. I've shared mine.
I love it, man. We're the same.
So you talk about freeing up time and making time to do other stuff. So what do you do to keep balanced and fill up that other time that you've made up? So you still play basketball?
I don't. I've been meaning to. In fact, I've gone and got a brand new basketball, some new shoes. I was traveling basically for 3 years. We were just straight on the road traveling. So I didn't have time to connect with the team and that sort of stuff. So when I'm not building my business, like I'm kind of obsessed right now with entrepreneurship and business and ideas. So honestly, other than spending time with my fiance or walking my puppy or hanging out with friends, I'm thinking about business ideas. Yeah. And that might seem weird to a lot of people, but to me, business is my sport. I gave up basketball, which was my sport. This is my game that I'm planning on winning, and I'm planning on winning big. I mean, 8 companies is just the start for me. And so I look at that and I go, well, what can I create? What am I doing? Where can I move? What are some ideas? And so I'm always like listening to listening to new podcasts or connecting in with new books or more people. So kind of obsessed, which I wouldn't recommend, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is fun. I mean, as you said earlier, it's exciting to be in this age of the internet. So not only does it create all these opportunities through cool tools and technology that's available, but also you can, connect with people. You can. I'm listening to a couple of new podcasts now that people I met last week at a conference, and I thought, wow, that's great. So I've sort of really listening to those podcasts over at every spare moment because there's really interesting information there, and then there's great stuff that you can read, whether it's ebooks or I don't know if you know Blinkist. I came across that recently and I'm obsessed by that. It's called Blinkist. It's a company, it's an app that you can download onto your phone or tablet, and it gives you a whole hundreds of business books but in summary form. And probably about a third of them are in audio, so you can listen to them, but the others are, all of them are visual, so you can read. But it just captures the snapshots. So there's all the classics are there, like 7 Habits of Highly Successful People and First Things First, all the Stephen Covey ones and that, which for me is fantastic because I've got them on my bookshelf, but every now and then I think I should go back and reread that. And so this is a way to kind of capture just bullet point form the messages that were there.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm sure there's heaps of other things like that around.
Yeah. And so how do you? I'll get that offline from you. I'm really interested in that. Yeah. So
I want to dig a little bit deeper about what you do in your business and coaching and see what we can learn from you there, little tips and tricks. But what do you see as the biggest hurdles that business owners face today and that you sort of deal with the most?
This might be controversial, but it's so on my brain right now and this week and even this month that it's important for me to share it. And I think the biggest hurdle right now is people going and learning stuff and wanting to just do it all themselves. I think the biggest problem right now is business owners stepping out of their genius. Say that they're like me, they're a good public speaker, they're a good inspirer, they're a person that can sell, they're a person that can pitch ideas and do that sort of stuff. And then I go and try to learn, and I've done this. I go try to learn Facebook ads or copywriting, or I go learn how to build websites, or I go try to learn team management, or I go learn all these other things. And I think the biggest challenge right now is we jump on social media and as soon as I pop on, there are 50 gurus telling me about how they make their money. And probably 48 of those gurus do it in a way that's not going to suit me and the way that I need to do business and my special place in the business. I want to add to this and say that the biggest challenge in people when they're starting their business is they try to do it all right from the start. And the first thing I would say starting business is you've got to go and find the person who's going to be the builder, the person that's going to actually create the thing, the structures in place, the systems. And you've got to have someone like me who thinks up the ideas. And you've got someone else who's going to actually bring the team together. And then they should go learn those tasks and those roles. And everyone together, 1 + 1 + 1 should equal 20, not 3. And I think the biggest challenge facing business owners right now is that they get sucked in to another piece of information or another training, and they go to seminar after seminar, course after course, and 2/3 of those courses or seminars that they go and do are not in an area that's their flow. And that may be controversial, but that's the truth.
Yeah. Actually, it's a really good point, because people, and we've talked a little bit about great new tools and interesting ideas, and as you say, there's a lot of gurus around. There's lots of different seminars you go to, and a lot of them are really great. But it's all about focus, isn't it? So you can't do everything. If you try to do everything, you either burn out or things fall over.
Yeah, it's that school mentality of I've got to pass the exam, so I've got to do everything. I've got to do it. It's up to me to learn it. And it's, so I've got to get a good job. I've got to pass university. I've got to understand this job. I've got to understand all the pieces of my job. And then we go into a business and we're still trying to understand all the pieces of a business. And then we go, okay, cool. I don't know blogs yet. I don't know this yet. I don't know that yet. And it's like, I don't know how to systemize or build websites, or I don't know how to speak on stage. And suddenly we just become this jack of all trades. And I see it so often. And I got so sucked into it. I know way too much stuff. I know way more than I want to know. 2/3 of it I shouldn't even know. I'd be much better if I just focused in on my genius stuff that's natural to me, and just outsourced and delegated and brought in people into my business that were good at the other things and worked together. And that is the big thing. Here's the one that I'm really wanting to say. I believe the solopreneur is a myth. I think that everyone out there is after the solopreneur dream, and I think the word itself, it just cannot work. You cannot be a solopreneur. You've got to be an entrepreneur and build a team and an organization. And it may be controversial, but I just thought I would bring some controversy to this tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We can handle controversy.
Good.
Yeah,
it's already been done.
It is a really good point, though, and I suppose we can take a step back and say these people don't have to be employees. You don't have to start a business and say, oh gosh, what Chris is telling me, I've got to find 50 employees, because there's all these 50 things that need to be done. So, the classic example is your books, your accounting. I mean, you have a bookkeeper do your books, you have an accountant do your accounting. Anybody that's doing that themselves, unless they're an accountant business, really, you've got to ask yourself why, and is that the best use of your time, and are you going to do a good job with that? Because there's and you can go through all the things that need to be done, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. People underestimate the power of a future goal. So think about it right now. When you start a business, even though you've got the idea, it's still $0 at the idea phase. And so I go, okay, so what I've got is $0, but I've got potential of an idea that can create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million. And so what if I just told, and this is how I build my businesses a lot of times, I get an idea and then I go, okay, cool. Well, do I have the money, or do I need to find the money? Okay, I've got the money. Am I going to actually be the face of the business, or do I need to get someone to be the face? And I go, would you like to be the face of this? There's your, 7%. Okay, person who gives me the money. Here, you've got 30%. Person who does this. There's you're going to build the websites. There's your 10% of what we build. Okay, salesperson. You're going to get 5% of the overall thing. And then I add all these out, and suddenly I've built myself out of this company. I do an hour a week meeting, and I've got 30%. And I love that. I love that so much. And then these companies grow, and people go, Chris, have you got 8 of these things? And I go, I just told you, Yeah. And this is what I try to share people in the $0 startup program and the Freedom Fast Track, is that if you can understand how to be what I call the glue, the missing piece, the one that sees it all and brings it together, well, then that's what I believe is going to make me be one of the great entrepreneurs and take big businesses and do things I haven't done yet, but I can see the potential. And so that's what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segues nicely into one of the other things I wanted to talk about, is finding your niche and finding your why. So, we've talked about a business owner trying to do everything, and then so if you say, okay, you can't do everything, So what do you focus on? How do you kind of identify what's your niche as a business and what's your niche as the business owner, and what should you be doing?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I love it. And so it seems like there's two parts to it. It's one, it's like what's your business niche, and then what role should I play in that business, I guess. So the niche part to me it's always an interesting question, and I think a lot of people go into places that they're passionate about. But for me, I like to just ask the question, where's the biggest opportunity? In fact, I've got this written on my wall right now. And what's written on my wall was in a really good book that I read recently by Peter Thiel, and he's awesome. It's called 0 to 1. And the question is, what great business is no one building right now? And I think it's such a good question. And so when I think about what niche you should be in, it's all about the opportunity. And a lot of times I see people going, oh, well, I've just done, I know this niche, so I'm going to go in it. And I think a lot of times that's a great idea. But I think also a lot of times that we miss, there might be an opportunity somewhere else as well. And so the niche question is a hard one. And here's my best answer for it is, the only way to decide if it's a good niche is not to sit back and try to analyze it from the outside. I believe the only way is to get something up, put $1,000 in or $5,000, get a website up, figure out what you're going to offer, what is your proposition, and go get some sales. And when you've got some sales, you've got some money coming in, then it's a niche, then it's a business. In fact, I've got a video training up. I made $9,000 in 3 days, starting with zero. Well, I actually spent $400, and I didn't even have a product yet. Then I rung everyone and I said, "Hey, I don't have this ready for another 3 weeks. Do you want a refund?" And they all said, "No, that's fine." And so that's what I think about the niche. The niche is important, and you've got to get it. You've got to get validation from the market very quick. And so I'm very quick to put something to market that isn't perfect, and I think that's important for people to understand, especially when they're innovating. And that's what this is about. Is that getting something imperfect to action to get the feedback is so important. Getting that out to market, and then what position should you play? What's the niche, I guess, inside your company? And that's an easy one for me to answer. And the question is this, is which piece of the business would you do for free? Mm-hmm. And that's how I find what I would do. The piece of the business you do for free. So what would I do for free? Well, I love shooting video. I love being the brand. I love being on stage. I love speaking to people. I love teaching. I would do that for free. And in some places I do. And so that's what I do. Yeah. And everything else, somebody else does.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective, what I do for free, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but talking about the business niche, what you've outlined is very much like a classic lean startup model, isn't it?
Right.
And I think one of the mistakes a lot of businesses make is they want to go to market with a perfect product.
Yes.
And they spend money and time refining things and getting it just the way they think it should be, and then they go to market, and then a lot of the times it falls over because there's no fit for it, or it's not the right opportunity, or they it doesn't speak to the right audience or whatever. So what you're saying, spend as little money and as little time as you can and get some sales, and then verify it by if you get heaps of sales and people actually tell you, hey, I'm fine, I don't need a refund, I'm happy to wait 3 or 4 weeks until you get it finalised. Well, that's validation, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I love what it is that you do, combing through people's websites and making sales. And I think everyone should check out what you do, because making websites work, and actually getting the sales and marketing nailed it's not as easy as everyone thinks. It's one of those things that it looks so simple. But if I was starting a company and I didn't want to be actually in it, the first person that I would hire or have on the team is a proven sales and marketing expert, somebody that's proven to make money. And that's one thing I think a lot of companies that don't work, they're so focused on the system and the product, and not on actually getting it out to market and getting it moving. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Totally, 100%.
So talk to us a little bit about systems and processes. Then you've alluded to it a couple of times in terms of building new businesses. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, and particularly in how it relates to scaling a business.
Yeah, well, absolutely. If you don't have a system, obviously you're going to have to keep doing it again and again and again. So there's two ways that we like to scale. We like to systemize our business. And one, we systemize it to delegate it, or one, we systemize to automate it. So that's the first question. We go, okay, so we've got this thing that one of us manages, high-level partners, somebody's doing, and that's the block, because we can only do so much right now. So we've already scaled. We've scaled to 1 million. We've scaled to 2 million. Okay, now we've got this block of fulfillment. We need to create a system or whatever it is. And so then the first question we ask ourselves is, well, are we creating a system to automate or a system to delegate? And that's the first critical question to ask yourself. And then that takes you down two different paths, because if you're looking to delegate, well, then you're creating a system to make sure that a person delivers on an outcome. But if you're creating an automate, where you're actually going to automate this process, again, it's a completely different system and a different person to bring in to help you to systemize it. There might already be tech available to help you to make that happen. And a lot of times there is, and a lot of times you need to kind of create some sort of external system or training system or something. So if you were to ask me how I like to systemize, I prefer to use tech that's already there. And we use a lot of different plugins and different tech to make sure our business is streamlined as possible. And then I love to outsource and delegate. We've got a team in the Philippines that we've created a full training program for, and they run 70% of all of the businesses. And that only can happen because of my business partner. His name's Mark Deason, and his ability to take a high-level problem or a high-level task and just break it down and then create a training program, systemize it, and then teach somebody at the basic level just to make it happen. And that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's great. And how do you build that training program? Is that very much like you do your public stuff with videos and documentation that just walks people through the process?
Yeah. So our teamwork, our place where we train our outsourced team, it's very specific, but it makes really logical sense. So we first off just start with, what's the outcome? And that's just put right on the top. The outcome of this task is to do X. Then there's actually a video. Now, normally it's a screen share video with a voiceover of us actually completing the task. Mm-hmm. And so there's actually some sort of demo involved. And so that's very similar to the videos. Obviously, it doesn't have it's not a face-to-camera video. It's just a screen share typically. This is include like anything, including Skype calls, including sales calls or booking hotels. We've systemized everything with some sort of screen capture video. Then there's the steps: step 1, step 2, step 3, the steps you need to do. Then there's the weekly rhythm, daily rhythm. So either it's a task that's going to be a project, it's a one-off, or it's a task that's done every single week. So what sort of rhythm is it? And then there's basically troubleshooting questions at the bottom. And then the last thing, which is the most important, is who to ask if you are stuck, so that they know exactly where to go up the line to ask how it's done, so that it's already completed. We have a standards ritual, and we have someone looking at it all. So I think I've covered everything, but it was a really good question.
Well, that's great. That was a little masterclass actually on how to write a process, and I've learned a little bit myself actually. I like the who to ask at the end and the troubleshooting and so on. Because we don't have that on our processes yet. I'll have to go back and do that. I have a golden rule with my team. It's the first place you ask if you need help is Google. The second place you ask is different team members, and then the team members everybody knows person X has certain expertise. So if you've got a problem in that area, you go and ask him first, and so on. Yeah. And I say if all else fails, then come and ask me. So yeah, I guess we might have to refine that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, it definitely sounds like you're on the right track, and I can't wait to learn some stuff from you. It sounds like you've got really there too.
Yeah. So how do you present all that stuff? What form do you put it in? Do you have a system?
Yeah, well, we use a membership site. So we've got our own built-out membership site that our team plugs into, where it has all the different segues of the different roles and tasks and weekly actions, and they all have their own login. And then we use another application, you probably use it yourself, called Trello, where we just put everyone's projects in there. And then we have another communication board. We just use a Slack channel for that as well. So we use a bit of outside tech, and then we've got our own, system for our own businesses that's got our own way of doing things that we've personally put a lot of time and effort and built ourselves. So, I mean, that's one of our companies is actually outsourcing for other people. So we do have that, like, hey, if you've got a speaking business or a coaching business and you don't want to do everything, we've got it systemized. So we have got that available for people as well.
All right, that's great. Yeah, we have a similar setup. I guess we've got an internal Google site set up for most of the processes and systems. And the thing I like about that is the searchability of it. But we're using Asana. We did use Trello for a little while, but we're using Asana for projects now, and then we're using Slack for communications. I'd love to have all of that in one place.
I've heard of a few people attacking that.
Yeah.
And I agree.
All right. Well, that's given us a great insight into some of the problems you tackle and help entrepreneurs with, and definitely, tell us a little bit more about other issues around scaling a business, because process is one of them. Yeah.
I think scaling is the I dislike the word, but I think the solopreneur's challenge is scale. How do I scale? And, it's very interesting to think about it, but there's really just two ways. And Roger Hamilton basically describes this the best. And he says, I'm going to paraphrase, I'll probably get the wording wrong, but he basically says you either magnify one thing or you're going to duplicate. So like McDonald's duplicated itself. So it just did the same thing, hundreds of thousands of time, or like an Anthony Robbins, you made just one thing big, an Oprah Winfrey just made one thing big. So there's the two options when it comes to scale. Now, I think with the internet, there's so many options for someone to magnify their business very, very, very quickly. I mean, we've got automated webinars that are selling hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we don't even have to be there. People are purchasing them 24 hours around the clock. And I think if you're in business right now and you don't have a webinar that's automated, that's selling a decent price ticket and that it's working, well, you're missing out on a massive opportunity to having an automated income stream. So I think that's a great way to scale. Public speaking is obviously another way to scale, and that is really cool. The live streaming. So any way that you can move to a one-to-many situation with your message is going to magnify, and then zero-to-many through your videos and your webinars and things like that is two great ways to magnify. Now, when it comes to scaling through duplicating yourself, now this is something that I am wanting to master even more. I've definitely got the magnify down, but I have had limited success at actually reproducing and duplicating again and again and again and again the same thing. And I think that comes down to which sort of tendency that you have as an entrepreneur, whether you just like to make one brand big and you're good at doing that, or whether you just take this brand and you keep it small and you put one in Melbourne, then you put one in Perth and one in Adelaide and one in Brisbane. Do you take one in the United States, or you just kind of franchise it out? And so I definitely am not the expert authority at all on duplicating the same thing over and over again. So I prefer to create scalable sales and scale your business out using those online methods that I was sharing.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm starting to do more webinars that are automated. I've sort of discovered that, and I thought, wow, this is fascinating. So we're just getting the technology right at the moment.
Nice. What are you using?
We're using Webinar Jam at the moment.
Okay.
and it's got an add-on called EverWebinar, which you can run a live webinar, and then you can use the EverWebinar to basically replay it, and the whole thing replays together with the audience, the questions, the comments, and it reuses the registration page and landing page and everything, but it's got the analytics built in so that you know if people are signing up for next Mondays or the following Mondays and so on.
That's smart. Smart. Good for you. Good for you. I hope it goes well. The best thing about them is that you can just test and measure and
exactly,
tweak.
yeah.
You can see when people drop off, and you can just make it rock. I mean, we've got some webinars converting in excess of 30% into programs and products that are hundreds of dollars. So it's really good. So
that's terrific. Yeah. All right. Well, we should move on to our innovation round, the buzz, as I call it. So it's designed to help our audience who they're primarily innovators and leaders in their field, but we're looking for tips from your experience. So I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions, and hopefully we'll get a really insightful one-line answer that's going to inspire everyone and help them do something awesome as a result. So no pressure there.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the number one thing anyone needs to do to be more innovative?
Ask good questions. I think all innovations start with asking the question of how can I solve it? What else is possible?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, what else is possible is a great one. So curiosity is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the best thing you've done to develop new ideas or new products?
The best thing I've done to develop new ideas or new products has been to trust myself. I think a lot of times when you're putting out something new, sometimes you go, well, where's the model? But just trust yourself. If you would use it, if you believe in it, then go for it.
That's a good one, yeah. And what's your favourite tool or system for improving productivity and allowing you to be more innovative?
I loved reading this question, and I want to say building a team.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say building a team. And so my favorite tool or system is the ability to delegate, and I think it's underrated.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? I mean, we've talked a lot about it today, but in terms of actually giving you as the business owner the space to kind of develop that trust in your own ideas, or to think about new things, or to start asking questions, think about, well, what are the questions I need to ask here?
Yes.
That's really important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And then actually trusting someone else with your business, your baby, to actually make it happen.
That's right. That's the big one, letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, what's the best way you think to keep a project or a client on track?
Weekly accountability sessions. And we do this 10-minute boost calls, 10 minutes. And so when I do my coaching, it's 10 minutes once a week. Ask the questions. Typically I find, and I know it's a longer answer, I find something holding a client back is normally just a little question or a little bit of uncertainty, and it can be solved in under 5 minutes every single time. But if they think that they can't reach out to you, or that it's not a scheduled thing, they put it off and put it off, and if they just got that answer on a weekly basis, bang, answered, and they can move.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. I like that it's regular, so presumably you schedule them and they
That's
know,
it.
Yeah, I've got to come in, so they come back with, well, I've done the things we spoke about last time.
Yeah.
I've got some questions, so they're not bothering you with questions in the meantime. They've done their action.
Yeah, that's it.
Great. And what do you think is the number one thing anyone can do to differentiate themselves as an innovator?
To differentiate themselves. Now, my answer I've written down was just to go big. Go big. I mean, I feel there's such a groundswell of entrepreneurs right now, and products and services, and I think the one way that you can differentiate yourself is go big, and then double how big you're going to go. I mean, go big, just go big. I think it's the biggest differentiator right now, because there are so many people who are playing less than I know they've got possible.
That's great. Yeah, go big and then double it. Or even triple it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Great advice. Well, thanks for getting us through the innovation round, Chris. So what's the future for you and for your businesses?
The future for my business is really exciting, and the biggest thing that's happening for us is we've just got this machine, and we've had a sales and marketing machine working, and now in the last 6 months getting this outsourced machine working. I'm going to be able to, within the next 3 to 6 months, take on any product, and within a month or 2 months get the full sales, get everything working, and then have it all outsourced and working without me. So we just put down a goal to have $101 million companies or more. And that's a big goal. But when you can have one machine, and here's the interesting thing is I find so much passion in the startup and getting a company moving and growing it, and now having a team to outsource it for me. I can't see myself losing the passion for seeing brilliant ideas getting out to the world. And so, yeah, that's what the future holds for us. Is we're just launching something new called Growth Hacker. We're on a TV show over in the US where basically we just grow companies and mainly our own. So lots of fun. I should add that as well. I see a lot of fun in my company as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're not having fun while you're doing it. No, that sounds exciting. And of course that, what was it, $101 million company? So that's actually 200, right? Because we're doubling it.
Yeah. I love that so much. You have no idea how much that's personality. And it's so good. You're right. I'm just going to go scribble out that massive goal. Go bigger than big, man. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just following your advice.
It's perfect.
Yeah. All right, that's great. So what's the number one piece of advice then you'd give to any business owner that wants to be a leader in innovation and productivity? And we may have covered it.
No one piece of advice is stick to what you're good at. Play your A game, build on your strengths, have other people fill with your weaknesses. Build on your strengths. If your strength is building great systems and websites, then do that and become an absolute expert at that and surround yourself with the other people. Do not allow yourself to be too spread too thin and try to do too many things, because you'll reduce your potency. Just focus on your circle of genius.
That's great advice. Yeah, so focus is really important, and bring your A game, and if you can't play your A game, then focus even narrower.
Then just do it.
All right, so finally, who would you like to see me also interview on the InnovaBuzz podcast, and why?
That's a really great question, and I would love to see you. My very good friend, his name's John Abbott, and he's over in Bali, and I would love you to interview him. And here's why: is he is doing extraordinary well with a brand new way to sell online. I've seen him in the last 3 months, and we've all heard of the Jeff Walkers and the Ryan Dice, these people, and this guy has got something big, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, all right. Well, John Abbott, I'm coming to get you courtesy of Chris Duncan. So, all right. So, where can people reach out to you and thank you for all this information you've shared with us? You've been really generous with time and information and know-how today. That's been great. So, where can people reach out and say thank you?
Well, I mean, they can come out wherever they want. I mean, I think you're going to have comments below this, so we'll jump on and answer any comments. My TV show on the Grant Cardone Network is called Growth Hacker TV. Every single week you can check me out there and add comments. My website, www.christophermduncan.com. I'm sure we're going to put down my Facebook, my Twitter, things like that. Just reach out and connect with me. I'm on Periscope twice a day, every single day. So if you've got any questions, get on that. We're building a new TV network, online TV show called E-Tribe. So I'm everywhere. It'd be very hard not to be able to reach out and get hold of me.
Okay, well, we'll put a selection of those links underneath the blog post. Yeah, we'll see if we can track them all down. So Growth Hacker TV will be one of the ones we'll link to, certainly your website and Facebook and Twitter and the Periscope one as well.
Yeah.
All right, well...
This has been fun.
Thanks a lot, Chris. I really appreciate your time. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot as well. So thank you for sharing your time and your insights with us on the InnovaBuzz podcast, and keep in touch. Yeah. So all the best for your future, and we'll see how those 100 or 200 $1 million companies come along.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate your time and your experience, and I'd love to have you over on my my podcast when you get some time to learn even more about what you're doing. So,
all right, I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Chris. I certainly hope you enjoyed meeting and listening to Chris as much as I enjoyed interviewing him. We both had a lot of fun on that interview, and I certainly learnt a lot about building processes, about delegation and automation, and how different processes are required for the two types of leverage situations. As well as that, we revised Chris's big goal by following his own advice of thinking big, then doubling it. All the show notes for this episode will be at innovabiz.com.au/Chris Duncan. That is CHRISDUNCAN. All lowercase, all one word, no funny hieroglyphics. innovabiz.com.au/Chris Duncan. That will have all of the links and everything we spoke about in this episode there for you to follow up and read about. Now, Chris suggested I interview John Abbott, the founder of the Results Platform Foundation, a serial entrepreneur, a technologist, and a self-described global epic adventurer, on a future podcast. So, John, keep your eye on your inbox for an invitation from me for the InnovaBuzz podcast, courtesy of Chris Duncan. And it'll be interesting to see whether John actually does check his email inbox as a global epic adventurer. I really look forward to that interview. Thank you to my audience for listening to the InnovaBuzz podcast. We really love having you here, and we'd love you to actually review the podcast. Not only do reviews help us get found, but your feedback helps us to improve this show. And there's a lot of ideas that I have to make some changes and improve and bring a bit of variety into the InnovaBuzz podcasts moving forward, and I'd certainly welcome the audience feedback to help with that as well. You can review us over at iTunes or at Stitcher, and while you're there, subscribe so that you'll never miss a future episode. Until the next time, I'm Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBiz. Remember, if you don't innovate, you stagnate. So think big, double it, be adventurous, and keep on innovating.